Good evening, everyone. This is Vivek Prakash, and I welcome you all to this webinar. Thank you very much for joining on time. Managing multiple projects in today's world is not uncommon. You want to break down your project into smaller pieces, allowing your team to manage smaller pieces separately, and you manage them, consolidating them at one place. You are managing a program or a portfolio and would like to see the status and track all projects at one place. You have shared resources who often get into scheduling conflicts. You can prepare a pool of resources and share them across projects. You can also check if there is anyone overallocated, or is there any conflict, and adjust the project plan accordingly. The power of managing projects together is immense. Before we start the webinar, let me brief how we're going to conduct this webinar. For the first time participants, by default all the participants are muted and will remain muted. However, it will not stop you asking questions. You can ask questions at any time by using the question panel. I will pause at logical points and take the questions from question panels. In case we run out of time without giving answers of all the questions, I will send responses of all the questions in an email to all the participants. Let me start for what we have assembled here today. That is how we can manage multiple projects using Microsoft Project. In today's webinar, we'll cover up that how we can add a sub-project in a big project. When you are breaking your project into smaller pieces, then how you can add in your main project, how you can add a sub-project which is being managed by another team member separately. How you can create a master project, having all the projects under your in your program or portfolio in one master project, and looking at the status, tracking them all together, suggesting changes, and discuss with your team. We'll also cover that how and share resources from the resources to the different projects. See if the allocation is right, if anyone has got over allocated, leveling the resources across projects and optimizing their uses, removing the resource conflicts or scheduling conflicts. The first step, I will take one main project and I will take a sub-project. We'll add the sub-project into the main project and will create some cross-dependency among them. Okay, I have a very small project here. A simple software development, some prepared design and development and some migration, the small pieces. What is not here is the testing part. And what is the scenario is the testing part is being managed by test manager separately. And the thing is that how I can see the complete project plan here, plan itself. Add the testing project into this. And then we see that we can see them together. So for adding a new project, a sub-project into the main project, we go to the project tab and on the leftmost side on the Microsoft Project 2010, you can see a sub-project. If you click on it, it will open up. To select the project, I will select the system integration testing MPP and I will add this MPP into this. Now normally whenever you add, it get added at the same level as the previous task is. So I will take it out. You see this is an icon which is showing this is an external project. Or this sub task like repair design, development, creation is also become part of this. So it is at the migration level, so it is now part of. Test case preparation should be dependent on design completed, because the test case can only be prepared when the design is completed. So I can set a dependency among these two, and this dependency will become across the project then. So I will go here on the task and link these two tasks. Right? If execution round 1 But this is a separate project. Still, it is project separately. When I write this project separately, you will see that there are two gray out tasks in this project. These are the dummy tasks inserted here to show the dependency because the other project is not part of this project. This shows that this particular task, test case preparation, if the test manager will open this project, he will see that design complete. This depends upon design completed, which is finishing on this date. Similarly here, so they are dummy tasks. As soon as this dependency get over, or this dependency, this is disconnected, this will go away. So if I go here and I remove this, you'll see that dummy task also goes away. If I reverse this, it comes up. So the predecessor, depending on the predecessor, if there is no task which is external to this is connected here, this dummy task will not come. It is just there to show you cannot make changes in this row, in this. It will only help you to know that there is the task in this project plan are dependent on the task on the other project. Now, if you make any change here, it gets reflected in the other project plan as well. So if I make changes here, suppose I say this test case review may take about 10 hours, not the 12 hours. I can go back on the development module thing and I can see that this has changed to 10. Similarly, if I make changes here to 12 hours, in the other project, it will show as 12 hours. It will be changed immediately. Now, if I close this, we'll say save the changes. Instead of closing, let me try to save this. When I save this, now it asks for that you want to save the changes in the other project plan as well. Because we have the right access, it is quite possible. If I double click on this, I double click on any of the tasks and go to the advanced tab. Advanced tab talk about several advanced features of the task. However, if I open up this task information box by double clicking, you see that this advanced tab appears very differently than the other one because it is linked. If I want to disconnect this particular task from the this is the other project. This is not the same project. If I uncheck this, this will be disconnected and it will become part of this project plan. And whatever changes we will make here will not get reflected there. So if we want to disconnect any project, we can just uncheck this. Now, as I showed that whenever I make changes here, they get reflected in the other project plan as well. What we can do, we can make it read only. If we make it read only, what will happen? My changes here will not change the other project plan. This way I would maintain the sanctity of the project plan. Because it being handled by the other project, I only give suggestions, do not go and make changes. And making it read only will help me prevent changing it by mistake. If I click on project information, it will show the information of the other project. System integration testing. And go to the next step. The next step to create a master project where I can add multiple projects and assign dependency across these projects and see their status and other things at one place. This I just demonstrated it. The read only I demonstrated it, and then we will switch to the resource. Later, you to show this, I will close this and create a new master project. Come over here, say new blank project. I give it a name, master project 1. I will go to the format tab and put a project summary task. That is the this project name. Under this project, I will add other two projects. I will go to the project tab, click on the sub project, add the development module. and see the complete project as this. If I have another project, I can add another project. Now I can see the complete project here. I can go to the various other views and can see the project completely. I can have the network diagram. Network diagram doesn't distinguish between any other the different projects. It looks like a complete one project. Which will give me the critical path as well. Now to protect this in my master project, I do not want to make the changes in the earlier projects. I can double click on it, go to the advanced tab and make them read-only. And read-only. My changes here will not be reflected in the, even I will by accident I will not be making any changes in the other differences, some issues I can and to see the individual project at the project plan individually. This will show the status of integration testing status. And to here at the project system, this will talking about the master project, the both projects together. I can generate reports, I can do my operations here, whatever I want, but to prevent it making changes, I make it read-only. Now the next step, which is little will be even more interesting, is the creating a resource pool and using these resources into the different projects. Before we do this, just look at some points that which will help us to understand that how we are doing it. the file which contains, we will create a separate file which contains only resources, nothing else. And that file will be called resource pool. You can give any other name as such, whatever you want. The project plan, which will be sharing these resources, which will be using these resources, is called sharer. If you close the resource pool, you will find resources that are not used in the sharer are disappear from. Now the project file which is using the resources is called sharer. We need to keep the resource pool always open till the time when we are working in the sharer. If you close the resource pool, the sharer will, the resources from the sharer will go away. Whenever we open a project file, it will ask us to open the resource pool. Normally we should open the resource pool only in the read-only fashion, but we can also open it in the read-write mode, or we can, when we open the resource pool separately, we can open the other sharer file as well. However, the first option is the safest option, as we should not make changes in the resource pool. We have created a resource pool already. I will open it read-only, read-write mode, so that I can make the changes in that. I have defined some resources here. A business analyst, developer, project manager, architect, server, PDUs, courier, all the work, material, cost, whatsoever it is. Now, if you see, this project plan does not have any task. It contains only resources. There is nothing else in this. Only resources are the screen is getting refreshed a little later. It's taking time. Okay. So you see that in the Gantt chart there is no task. It's only this project contains only resources, and we have given the name to the resource pool. Any resource you have in your project or in your organization, you can put all resources into this resource pool. And this resource pool will only be used to hold the resources, making changes in the resources, changing the calendar of the resources. Like if you go in the change working time, you can find the resources calendar for each resource here. You select any resource and make the changes in the calendar. Allow him to go to the holidays. It will be reflected everywhere. To the top. They come over here. This is share. Let me complete this. Here I see there are no resources in this project right now. So whatever allocation was done, I have removed that allocation. Now I will put these resources freshly, and these resources will come. I will not define any resource in this project plan, but I will take the resources of the resource pool. For that, I will go to the resource pool. You see there is an option for share resources. When you click on it, you see there are two options here. One, the use your own resources or use resources required at least one resource pool. I will click on it. The file I have kept it open will appear here. If I have two files, the two files will appear here. Because I have opened only as one file, which is a resource pool here, it is showing one file. So I will use this and click on this. Select here. Now on this, there are precedents which I can define. By default, the pool take precedence. I can also make the sharer take precedence. That means if I make the changes in the resource pool, in the resources in the local file, those changes will override the things coming from the resource pool, which could be a little confusing. So I will always advise that when you are using the resource pool, resources from resource pool, use the first option, pool take precedence. So all the resources from pool are now here. This is exactly what we defined in the resource pool. So if you come over here, you see the resource pool, and you also see here the resource pool. The same come over here and start assigning these resources in this project plan. So I take assign resources, select OK, the business prepare design document. Let's say define to architect, review design document. Let's say define to project manager, reworked design document. Let's say assign to architect, prepare a specification. Let's define to maybe a developer. And we'll go to the coding and say it will be done by developer 1 and developer 2. We'll go to the code review. Let's say done by developer, or say developer 3. Unit testing, let's say it will be done by developer 1 and developer 2. Code rework, let's say done by developer 1 and developer 2. Preparation of migration script, not sure, but let's say done by business analyst. Copying, let's say again put it to business analyst. Ship it, let's say project manager will ship it. So I have defined all the resources here. There are some conflicts here. You see that resources are get over allocated because these things are in parallel. So I go and I can make them in sequence also. So I put a dependency on it and this goes away. Now here the business analyst, because both are in parallel, therefore it is taking, therefore they are both over allocated. Maybe this work can be given to some other person as well. If I assign this person this work to another person, let's say developer, even developer is busy right now, so I remove this, remove the business developers, and or let's say business analyst, but make it 50%. Here also I make it 50%. So we are doing manually, we are manually putting the resource level as such. Okay, the same resources I can use in the other here, and I will open system integration testing. Now this is a separate project. It is not the connection which I made earlier. I didn't save them, so it is not connected. There is no dependency. It's an entirely different project. I will again do the same thing here. I will go here, share resources. I will remove first all the resources. There is no resources assigned to it. I will go to the resource pool, share resources, use the resource from where resource pool, and say okay. So all the resources defined in the resource pool also come over here, and I come over here and assign these tasks to these resources. So I have this test lead. Let's say give it to the project manager. Test rework, let's say to test lead, and then say test execution, let's say test lead and tester both. That is also both. So I've defined the resources, and you see the project manager is defined in this project as well as the other project. This is a common resource. In the master project also I go here and I see this resource pool. Now how I am sure that these resources have come from resource pool? I have not defined them. So there is a field called project. So I say insert column, and there is a called field project. I will add a field called project. Project will tell us what is coming from this where. So it's saying it is coming from resource pool project. Okay. I have installed 2007 as well as 2010 version. So by default it opens in 2000. It will show me these tasks from the system integration testing and these tasks are module development. In case I'm not sure if the project plan become too big and I move into from one view to another view. Let's say I move into task users view. In a task users view, okay, or in the resource users view, it may be very difficult here that which task is coming from which. You can see that test lead is working on the projects on the tasks which are coming from. Now, if suppose let's because of this assigning and working at the same time, you will see that these two, there is a conflict in that. To remove this conflict, you can go to the team planner view and you can see that all the tasks, everything come as a one piece information. And here there is a conflict. I can click on this, go to the resource and say label resource. And this will get push the overall project. Sources at one places and them, but also when we have cross-functional dependency. For some time. So how I put this person on leave? I have to go to the resource pool and go project. Say change working time. I select developer 1 and put him on leave from 5th March to this March. Let's see how it impacts the project. You see this task has increased from 3 days to 8 days now. The time is shifted. So this way you can, at one place, you can manage your all the resources irrespective of where they are assigned. say resource pool, share resources, and I say use your own resources. As soon as I do this, all the resources assigned in this project will stay in this project, rest will go off. So all the other projects, the testing related resources are no more here. Similarly, if I am here, I say resource pool, share resources. Wherever the resources are shared, all the project plan will appear here. All the project plans will appear here. I can select one of them because development projects I have already dealing, break the link, so therefore it is not appearing here. I can select this and say break link, and then these resources will no more be shared with the master project. So you can break this link from the sharer, that is the project plan, and as well as from the resource pool. Now sometimes what happens that we want to create a dependency between two projects. We don't want to make a we want to create a dependency, but we do not want to create any. Okay, if I make changes in the other project, and that is impacting this project plan, and now whenever I open this project plan later, it will ask me that things are changed. Will you like to accept it? And you click on this and accept that. Now I have two projects, development dependency among without creating any master project or without adding a sub project into the main project. So what I do, I go and create a new project, or simply I go here in the view, go into the window, and click on the new window. I will come over here and click on the new window, and I select new. I select those projects which dependency and close this project without saving it. You see, even if the new project I have closed without saving, the dependency has come over here and also come over here. So the dependency is assigned by creating a new project, adding both of these projects, assigning the dependency, but there is no need to save the project. This is what is defined here. In today's webinar, this is what I wanted to cover up. As per my agenda, if you have any question, I will be very happy to answer those questions. I went very slow because this were opening multiple files. So I found it better to stay show only the limited functionality which can be explained easily. So, but if you have any questions, you might have not like clear on some of the points, please let me know. I will be happy to answer. The video is way too very slow. Yeah, sometimes I agree with you that sometimes it happens and refresh takes time. Maybe the voice and audio and video may not sync up. Let me know their questions. Even related questions are fine, not necessarily only within this scope. If there is any related question also. Would you please review how to cross the multiple this dependency is mentioned, and you let me tell you what is the question. The question is track resources allocation conflict across the multiple projects. Yes. So suppose like this, in this case I showed you, maybe I will show another question which depend upon the suppose that these things are going in parallel. These two things are parallel, and I allocate one developer here. Interesting part. Hold on. Give me a moment. It's going a little slow. Let me close the PPT. Is not required. Let me close this and open it again. It's just not completing. Upon this, let's see. A resource of developer 1 is also there in you see to team annually by reallocating the some task to other, or I simply use the label resource by individual resource, and by clicking on this it will postpone some of the task to happen later to balance this resource. Similarly, you can do for test lead. Now, you will find this happening many times. You label one, the other person get overlooked. So you have to select both the resource together and then label the resource. But whenever you do this, normally, not necessary all the time, but normally your timeline may get extended. Is this what your question? I hope I have addressed this. Okay, let me look at the another questions. Okay, in large projects can various types of resources be monitored and updated separately by different persons and integrated on the master project, while the project manager concentrate on the overall project master project. Mukul Gupta. You are right, but in case when you are sharing a resource pool, we do not advise such kind of arrangement. We say that what we advise is that to keep the resource pool at one place, make a resource manager who will maintain this resource pool and let the individual project managers handle the task and the allocation of the resources. If any change is required for the resource, let's say change in the resource rate, let any resource goes on leave, or anything happen to the resources, the project manager requests that resource manager to change the things in the resource pool. Because resource pool being shared, if more than one people start updating it, may create a problem. And therefore, whenever you open the resource pool, we always advise that you always open this into a read-only mode only, not the write mode. And even by mistake you make any project manager make any mistake, it can be a problem for the rest of the all other project managers. So any changes for resources, let's one person take care of it. But whenever you have to schedule, you have to allocate a resource, you need to manage your task, etc. That individual project managers can do. Does that answer your question, Mukul? Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions related to this? Okay, great, thanks. This time we have plenty of time, so I think even if you have related questions also to this subject, I will be very happy to answer that. As such, it's very simple to manage these projects. Only thing is that there's some constraints also attached with it. The constraints are that you need to keep these projects at a shared place. Dependency on it. On the predecessor, that the complete path is mentioned here. So if you replace any project plan from one place to another place, it will disbalance the whole system. And second thing is that if one person does not have the access to any other project plan, or some other like resource pool or so, it will create the problem. So you need to make sure that you are maintaining a common directory at one place, which whomsoever want to participate in this exercise, the project managers, the resource manager and other team members, or whomsoever is making modification and using it, must have access and the read-write access. This is a major constraint as such, but if done if a resource manager like holding one resource pool can also manage that common area, I think that will solve the problem. And normally in the organizations we have common server. You can take a common a place for a common place for this particular resource location. Person may create the problem. How can we schedule an activity? She's okay. Before that, Mukul has another question. I want to know if different type of resources like material, work and cost be separately monitored and updated by different person and integrated in the same resource pool file. So you can do that. If you open the resource pool in a read-write mode, you can always do this. However, it is risky. You can the people who have write access, they can open the resource pool in a read-write mode and make the changes. But more people will update it, more risky it will be. Even a small mistake may create the issues with the several other people. So it is not a good idea to do it. However, it's quite possible. Okay, Ashish Bansal has a question. How can we schedule an activity from new day if the predecessor activity is completing in part of the day? Okay, let me read this. I'm not sure if I'm very clear. How can we schedule an activity from a new day if the predecessor activity is completing in part of the day? Okay, you are saying if the activity predecessor is completing in the midway today, then how will I ensure that the next activity happen the next day, tomorrow, not today? Okay. There are few things which you can take care. However, I will not advise those things. Especially, I do not advise anybody to go into such a detail in the project plan. There is a dependency you see here. If I double click on it, you can have a lag here. You can increase or decrease lag. So if you're saying it is completing like halfway, you can create a lag of 0.5 day or 4 hours. 4 hours will postpone the task by 4 hours. That will making it on a new day. Now, will this help? Not necessarily. Because if the predecessor get delayed by 2 hours, what will happen? If the predecessor to predecessor get delayed by 2 hours or 3 hours, in fact, I should not go into these kind of details altogether. We should, as we tell, the people should not interfere in their reports matter. Do not do micromanagement there. I will also say that in Microsoft project, you should not do micromanagement. Now this is more subjective matter than actually what you're doing. Looking hour on hour basis in a project, in a Microsoft project, will only suck your whole time and you end up managing this project plan only. we should keep in mind that our job is here is to not manage the Microsoft project, but utilize Microsoft project to help our resources to do work better. So whatever you are creating in a Microsoft project is, you need not be precise hour by hour. You take this project plan as a guide, as a direction for you to execute things. There is no need to mimic the actual execution in the planning. Planning is a direction which drive our execution. When we capture the actuals and enter into the project plan, at that time we can see to fine tuning if it is required. We can do some fine tuning in the project plan and make such kind of changes. However, I will always suggest, do not go hour by hour basis. Do not bother that what time the project is getting started, the day is getting started, day is getting end. What project manager should bother that how many hours are there in the day? Are the people allocated for that many hours only, or more hours or less hours? If more hours, we need to see that he should be level. So the work should be level. Even many times when the project is very big, your lowest level unit need not be a day, it can be a week. So if you see in 1 week there are 40 hours, in one day he's allocated 10 hours, another day he's allocated 6 hours. But over a week, if the person is over allocated 40 hours, I think you are well. There is no issue in that. If the project is like years or so, it does not matter actually. So I will always suggest, do not schedule your project plan on an hour basis, even in big projects, not a day-to-day basis. But you prepare a project plan which will guide your action on the ground, and you need not to look at the project plan on a daily basis. I think once a week or once a fortnight, depending upon how big your project is, you can update this project plan and see that how your project is looking like. Is it getting delayed? Do you need to make any changes in the upcoming plan? Is the execution happening? Is more or less on time or within the cost, or are we completing the project on time or not? This is what actually the project plan gives to a project manager, and most of the action should be happening on the project, and this project plan should be adjusted based on that we should complete this project very decently. Taking a lot from your session today, very informative except little unclear on resource allocation, C over allocation, sharing across the project. You repeated it, but due to audio video discrepancies, I could not understand. Thanks. Okay. I will suggest you that I may show you once again, but I will suggest you this recording of this video of this webinar is available. On the YouTube in couple of days. You can look at the recording, and maybe you need not to watch the whole recording. Just go and maybe you can fast forward and move to that particular place. Maybe revisit that place. Even if you find it difficult, you let me know. I will be happy to give you more directions on that how you can manage your resources. I understand, and that's especially going very slow, that opening couple of files or closing some of the files and switching between one file to another file, it could be some confusing and such. But look at this. I think if you revisit the recording, if you find that you are okay with that, fine. Otherwise, drop me a mail. I will try my best to help you out. And thank you very much if you like the takeaway. Okay, and look forward for some more questions. Okay, so if there are no more questions, though we still have some time, but if there are, you can keep webinar as such. If you get an email, I'm available at Vivek@pmwares.com. Thank you, Nagesh. Thanks, Oscar. Okay, thank you very much to all of you. We will, after this webinar, we will send out a mail to confirming your attendance to this webinar, and that webinar also contains that how you can claim your PDUs and in what categories, and keep your this email and maybe you can link to this recording of this webinar safe with you to support your PDUs. And thank you very much. I hope this is useful to you. You might have some takeaway from this. Look forward to see you in upcoming webinars. Please do suggest us in the feedback form. We'll give you, when we send the email, we'll also provide a feedback link to the feedback form. So please let us know your feedback on what subject you would like to cover on project management, and we would like to bring some like to address those subjects in the upcoming webinars. If any of you are interested in taking up some of the subject and want to be to give the webinar and be speaker of the webinar, we'll be happy to have you on this. The only thing is that the subject has to be on the project management. Thank you very much to all of you.